All right, sir, if I can't get you on camera, you're not here.
I'm doing so right now. I am exempt from these rules and regulations. I motion and move this court to dismiss this case. I am sui juris in proper persona and propria persona.
And Mr. Dubois, is your address still homeless?
All right, people, today we've got a sovereign citizen going up against Judge Webster. And let me tell you, Judge Webster utterly shuts him down. This guy's here for the usual. No driver's license, no insurance, and no registration. You already know this one's going to be a mess. But trust me, you're going to have to watch this one to believe it. This dude is acting like he's utterly mentally insane, and it's really wild. How do people like this ever think they can prevail in court? Let me know your opinions in the comments while you guys watch. Do you guys think this dude is mentally insane? Or is he just an average sovereign citizen here? Let's go ahead and dive.
State of Kansas versus Anthony Edward Dubus. Jared Regier for the state. Is Mr. Dubus present? Anthony Dubus?
I am Anthony Edward Dubus. Dubus is the English pronunciation. Dubus is the original French. And I am appearing specially in propria persona, not pro se, as sui juris.
Okay, first of all, I can't see you, so you're not here.
Parent satisfied?
Thank you, sir. Now,
absolutely.
As far as I need to go, well, I need you back here in person.
Okay, well, it's propria persona, not in person. I'm not the legal entity that you're claiming me to be.
All right, sir, if I can't get you on camera, you're not here.
I'm doing so right now. I'm just removing it as it's taped. It takes a while.
Now, the second order of business, let's get your name straight. I know a family with the same exact spelling in America, and they do pronounce it Dubus, but you said you pronounce it
Dubus, as the original Dubus, as the original French. Yep.
Very well. Dubus.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, Mr. Dubus appears in person and pro se.
Correction. Propria persona.
Well, in this court, it's in person. And
correction, in all courts, it may be either pro se, either appear in person, or propria persona.
Well, in my years of law school and nearly 40 years of practice, both as an attorney and a judge, it's been in person, and that's what I'm going with, sir. I believe that is just fine. So in any event, we will proceed with your charges. In count one, sir, you're charged with operating a motor vehicle on a highway of this state without having a valid driver's license, pursuant to KSA 8-235A. In count two, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, you did then and there unlawfully operate or attempt to operate a motor vehicle, to wit, a 2003 Honda Accord, upon a highway of the state, to wit, 1700 block of East Foxdale Street, Andover, Butler County, Kansas, while the vehicle was not registered in violation of KSA 8-142. In count three, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, Anthony Edward Dubus,
Thank you, Myron.
unlawfully and intentionally drive a motor vehicle upon a public highway or property open to use by the public and failed to provide proof of insurance upon demand by a law enforcement officer. Now, sir, if you had insurance when you were stopped but just didn't have it with you or couldn't find it quickly, just provide proof to the county attorney and they'll most likely dismiss that charge. But if you really didn't have insurance, you're looking at a Class B non-person misdemeanor. The law does require a minimum fine if you're convicted of $300 up to $1,000. and it does have a possible jail sentence up to 6 months. Those are the charges against you.
This is truly hilarious. You can immediately know from the charges alone that this guy is a sovereign citizen, no license, no insurance, no registration at this point. It's like they get up and choose to make life tougher for themselves. I just don't comprehend why these folks refuse to follow the most basic laws. It's not some government plot. It's just basic sense here. You can't drive without a license, and you can't own a car without registering it. The Supreme Court has literally confirmed states can require these things to keep the road safe. But no, they think they've unlocked some secret cheat code to life. And somehow the rest of us are just blind followers. And honestly though, I just feel like a big part of the problem is the school system. I realize it might just be one of the problems, but from elementary to high school, I swear they spend years drilling in stuff we'll never use, but do they ever bother teaching basic laws? I genuinely can't remember a single class on what your rights actually are or what laws you need to obey as an adult. Maybe I'm wrong since I haven't been to school in a long time, but I just don't think I am. Here, let me know if you folks disagree with me on that. Let's dig back in.
You do have the right to an attorney. You can hire any attorney of your choice, but if you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. You don't have to have an attorney, though. You can waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself. So that's an order of business we need to take care of today, is whether you want an attorney or not. And then another is to make sure that you understand what the charges are and the possible penalties. Do you have any questions for me about that?
Yeah, I don't understand the nature and cause of the charges. I have not had my accuser face me to bring the charges against me, as is a violation of due process. And I want to correct, for the record of the court, the named defendant is different than the named person, being myself. Hold on, let me make sure I get that in view of the camera. The named person here is different than the one named in the charges and the counts, being a difference of representation of who exactly it is the charges are against. And it is to my belief and knowledge that per KAR 8243 subsection A, exemption from the motor carrier safety regulations, A, the occasional transportation of personal property by private motor carriers that is not for compensation and is not in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise. I am exempt from these rules and regulations, and if I need to get a USDOT number to show that I was not operating a commercial motor vehicle or as a common carrier for business or for profit or in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, I will be more than happy to produce that USDOT number to show that I am in fact a private motor carrier, not operating in commerce, not driving, as I'm merely transporting and traveling.
Mr. DuBois, you are not charged under the Uniform Commercial Carriers Code as adopted by the state of Kansas. You are charged just as a motorist operating a motor vehicle. Again, not a commercial vehicle. These are not laws that are subject to the commercial code or to the administrative regulation that you referred.
Although you mentioned the word operating. Operating is a term used for the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, or driving, operating, the physical use or furtherance of for-profit business or for compensation.
It may under the commercial code, but not under the code otherwise.
It is under Kansas, correct?
It is not under Chapter 8 of the Kansas statutes. or Chapter 40, which are filed under. But we can address that at a later date at a trial or a motions hearing if necessary. But I do not see the statutory language that you're addressing being applicable to these statutes, at least preliminarily at this hearing.
It is within, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's my ruling there. And then on the name issue, I am not tracking you there. The only difference I see is that at the top of the document, State of Kansas and your name are capitalized, and in the initial or in the individual charges, it's traditional capital letter of the first name, all lowercase of the remaining names throughout. So I'm not following that argument. Again, if you want to readdress that at a later date, we can, but I'm just not seeing that argument.
Okay.
Now
then. I motion and move this court to dismiss this case.
It's honestly so comical watching this sovereign citizen just reading off this little cheat sheet like he's got a surefire plan here. I'm honestly just astonished by how these people think. Like, what's the final aim for him? They go out, buy a car, and for some reason decide they don't need a license. Then they waltz into court, claiming the court has no jurisdiction over them, even though they're literally here. And then they come into the court that has no jurisdiction over them. And then they come in, bring up these made-up laws, and for whatever reason they think they're right. Like, this has got to be a mental illness. I've been saying this since day one. No matter how brainwashed you are, I don't think you could get this far. Like, it genuinely makes zero sense. Like, there's just no winning for them in this circumstance. I mean, at this point, it's honestly easier to sell the car, hop in an Uber, or utilize public transportation because it's honestly a lot less stress than dealing with all these false legal issues. I seriously simply don't get it. If anybody could explain it to me in the comments, please do, because man, I'm just losing brain cells by the second here. Next voice, I love how this court clerk is giving this guy some serious attitude right now. You could see he's probably wishing he had a lawyer, but honestly, I feel like this might have been a part of his strategy all along, like there's no way he inadvertently didn't send his motions. It's fairly evident this guy has no idea how to file a petition correctly, and honestly, if you're making motions in court, you have to follow some rigorous regulations like anyone knows, but I truly feel like this guy is simply trying to delay his case here. Then, it is actually not that hard to send it to the appropriate email address, even though they don't take it by email. You know, I feel like if you were to goof up, you would at least send it to the appropriate email address. It's honestly a sleazy action from this individual, but I would not be surprised coming from a sovereign citizen. Let me know what you guys think thus far.
For the motion I have filed, and for the brief in support of motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction.
Sir, I do not have any such motion or brief in support. Mr. Regier, have you received any such documents?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor, and so I fail to see, at least at this juncture, how such a motion is properly brought before the court, unless the court is aware of something that I am not aware of.
Well, that's what I'm trying to decide, if it's properly before the court. Mr. Dubois, who did you file the motion and brief with?
Well, seeing as your guys' e-file is down for what is it? It's called a ransom malware or something. I cannot e-file.
Right, so but you can mail it, or you can walk it into the clerk of the court. Have you done that?
Yes, I've mailed it by email, which a court.
I'm sorry, when I could. Okay, go ahead, please. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. It was by email, which the court clerk said I could, considering the e-file was down. And I can't really go 20-something miles to do that, considering my personal property was stolen.
When did you email it, sir? When did you email it?
A while ago.
Judge.
Yeah.
Yes.
We do not accept emailed filings, only faxed or by mail or person.
Okay,
Oh, I'm
I was
sorry.
told that they do not have fax, so I could not do that. So email would be okay.
He may have called the wrong courthouse then.
They spent 10 minutes finding my case because your guys' system was down. So I'm fairly certain it was the correct one.
Okay. Do you recall which you filed or which court you called?
Let me go to my sent. T. Stafford at bucokansas.com.
I think that might be at the county courthouse, not the district courthouse.
Okay. So if you want to file something, sir, let's make sure you file it in a fashion that will get it officially recognized. So, Ashley, how do you suggest he file motions and the like?
He will either need to mail us a copy of it or he can fax file.
And is your guys' fax active?
Yes, it has been the whole time.
The only fraud going on right now is this person. This dude is basically spouting off some Facebook script he presumably got from some random deadbeat sovereign citizen who believes they're an expert in law. It's so obvious, and honestly, it's rather absurd. I mean, these sovereign citizens have this bizarre fascination with trying to compel the judge into saying whether a matter is under common law, military law, or whatever else they've cooked up. Newsflash to this person. Courts don't function like that. A judge isn't going to abruptly stop the whole case only to clarify what type of legislation they're acting under. It's already set in stone by the system of common law. Sure, it's part of it, but there's a whole network of statutes, case law, and rules that control anything. These folks attempt to pretend like they can just twist the system into something it's not. But the judge is just sitting there like, yeah, great effort. It's honestly like watching somebody debate with a stone wall here. Let me know if you guys believe this guy has any chance of winning with these approaches here. Let's dig back in.
Okay, and
it's not effective, yes.
What's the fax number?
Our fax number is 316-321-9486.
Okay, and my honor, I have one last question. For the nature and cause of these charges, is it a criminal or is it a civil matter?
This is a criminal matter.
Okay, as is a criminal matter, there are two jurisdictions which I may be tried. One is the common law, and the other is a military tribunal. Which of those two do you intend to try me in?
I intend to try you in this one, sir.
Which is this one? Please elaborate.
The criminal one.
Well, criminal has two jurisdictions. It is either the common law or it is the military tribunal.
Well, sir, we're not going to go into that at this point.
Are you refusing to acknowledge to me and tell me the nature and cause of the charges?
I have told you the nature and the cause of the charges.
You are not elaborating.
I think the remaining issue, sir, is whether you're going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself.
My honor, I need to know whether or not this is going to be in the common law or a military tribunal.
Well, I am going to ask you one more time. Are you going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself, sir?
Again, I'm not representing myself. I am sui juris in proper persona, or propria persona.
So you're not going to have an attorney, or are you?
No, I'm not going to be presented or represented by any British agent, registrant, or anybody else to be a ward of the state. I'm standing on my rights, and I do not abrogate them. And if you're going to continue to move this court without any sort of evidence well, I guess I'll have to file that, but
We're going to set your hearing. How do you want to plead to the charges first? Then, if you don't want to have an attorney, how do you want to plead to no valid driver's license?
My Honor, are you attempting to administer the trust without permission and consent?
I'm asking you for your response. I'm giving you the chance to respond. Do you want to plead to this charge or not?
My Honor, I don't make any pleas, as I am appearing in proprietor persona, and any plea would submit jurisdiction to the court. I am here challenging jurisdiction under the common law, as I am owed the law of peace, and this is a fraud action.
Attempt to pretend like they can just twist the system into something it's not. But the judge is just sitting there like, yeah, great effort. It's honestly like watching somebody debate with a stone wall here. Let me know if you guys believe this guy has any chance of winning with these approaches here. Let's dig back in. Next voice. The judge really just pulled the "you're homeless" card on him, like that's had to hurt. But honestly, what's really upsetting me about this whole case is how this guy keeps addressing the judge "my honor" instead of the "correct your honor." I mean, come on, that's like the most basic thing you learn when you step into a courtroom. It's such a minor element, yet it's also such a major red flag. The whole point of calling the judge "your honor" is demonstrating respect for their position in the court system. But this guy's over here acting like he's got some kind of special connection with the judge, like they're buds or something.
As fraud in the inducement from the beginning, under due process violations from Deputy Khalid Barake and the other officers or sheriffs that were on scene. And if you're attempting to administer the trust without consent of myself, the living man, the grantor, in common law, which is above Admiralty Maritime Law, then you will be in violation of Article 3, Section 2, the trial of all crimes, except in case of impeachment, shall be jury, and such trial shall be held in a state where said crime shall have been committed, but when they are not committed with any state, the trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may by law have directed. And as there is a difference between the Republic State Kansas before the state of Kansas was brought into the Federation of the Union of States. And you will also be in violation of I'm getting it real quick. 18 U.S. Code Sections 2381, treason. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States, the corporation, not United States of America or for America, levies war against them or adheres to the enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. Now, I, Anthony Edward Dubus, the proper case trade name, not the all caps legal entity of which you're attempting to administer the trust of, am an American state national, a Kansas state national per 8 USC 1101, subsection 21, and is recognized by the Kansas Human Rights Commission, as I have dealings with them going over my nationality in regards to a corporation in which I have a complaint filed against, has already been refused mediation by the company and is being investigated by Barbara Carper, the special investigator of Kansas Human Rights Commission, over my case specifically. And if you are attempting to move this case against myself, you are in violation of executing law rather than just judging on it. Which, if I need to pull up that statute
Sir,
or case as well.
Sir, do you still have the same phone number you had posted on your bond that you have with AAA Butler County Bail Bonds? Is that still your current phone number?
My Honor, Mrs.
316-252?
My Honor, Webster, it is, you may call me either Anthony Dubus or Anthony Edward Dubus. I do not accept the term sir. Although,
well.
Yes, my phone number is still the same at 316-252-9724.
All right. And is your address okay? Address's iPhone needs to be blocked. And Mr. Dubois, is your address still homeless, or do you have something more specific at this time?
Not how this works, Guy. He's just digging himself further into a hole. And at this pace, he is not going to crawl out anytime soon. I think this dude should be more focused on securing himself some housing instead of arguing with the judge here. But let me know what you guys think about this whole situation so far. Next voice, just like the normal sovereign citizen script calls for, always end off the hearing by threatening the judge. Classic move here. I mean, we've all seen it before, right? These people genuinely think it's going to make the judge back down or give them some special treatment. Newsflash, it never works. This dude is really out here unemployed homeless and arguing in court over a measly driver's license, like bro, just get the license already and move on with your life. It's really not that hard, but here he is making it way more complicated than it needs to be. And honestly, this whole thing reeks of that victim complex that's getting worse every day. He's sitting here blaming everyone else, especially the state of Kansas, for the fact that he's homeless and unemployed. Like, take some accountability, man. You can't just sit there and expect the world to bend over to your will just because things aren't going the way you want. I mean, we've all had our difficulties, right? But that doesn't mean you get to avoid fundamental responsibilities or make up your old rules simply to get out of them. He's playing the victim card so hard, and it's simply not working. It's like he's trying to find any excuse to avoid face reality. Anyways, people, that's all I got for today. Let me know what you thought about this court hearing here. Do you guys think this dude is psychologically sick? Or did he just buy into the sovereign citizen PS script like everybody else? But anyways, I hope you all loved it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you guys want more content like this. I post every single day, so stay tuned for that. I really appreciate you guys. Take care.